Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And y'all, I came in today to talk briefly about day 2 of the George Floyd case. And before I really get started, I wanted to say this. After watching the video again, because they kind of started the entire trial showing that video again. After watching that, y'all, I want to say this. I have not cried this much for my own problems, or anything that's going on in my life in a long time the way I cried watching that video. When I watched it, the brutality of what was done to Mr. Floyd kept hitting me in waves and waves. All of those 9 minutes and some odd seconds of it, it just hit me. As a black person, as a mother of a young black male, as a mother of a daughter, as a daughter myself, as a sister, just years of things that have been done to our people. We have suffered so much in this country. Injustice against us, you know? And what amazes me about my people is that no matter what we go through, we don't let it beat us down. We seem to be able to carry the burden to rise up and fight. When I watched this video and I watched the smug, arrogant look on Chauvin's face, y'all, it does something in my spirit. The first day when they showed the video, yesterday, when they started the trial off with the video, I was bawling so bad, crying so bad that I kind of almost hyperventilated. I didn't know that it was going to affect me like that. But I think it was not having seen it in a while. And then here it was right back there. What George went through, what Mr. Floyd went through, oh my God. Oh my God. When that prosecutor described him trying to shift in a position that would allow him to get more breath into his lungs, I was picturing it. I was almost there on that ground with him, you know, trying to help him get a breath, or at least wanting to help him get a breath. This, y'all, it is breaking me. You know, over these past few years, past few decades, hell, past few hundreds of years, we have witnessed not only our men, but our women and children being victimized, brutalized, demoralized, disrespected, everything. We're not asking for anything more than what every other race demands, and that's just to be respected and to be treated as human beings and to be treated equally. When I watched that video and I watched George beg to just be able to breathe, y'all. I I just I don't understand the hatred for us. When I look at Chauvin, I see a sick, sadistic, power hungry asshole. You know? The fact that he's had other complaints against him of excessive force doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. When he was sitting there on George's neck with his hands in his pockets, as those people were screaming, "Get up off of him, he can't breathe," and you watch saliva form around his mouth. And, from what the spectators were saying, those bystanders or saying blood coming out of his nose, um, his eyes rolling back in his head, and then him becoming eventually limp because he wasn't allowed to breathe. And then even after that, he continued to keep his knee on his neck and even applied more pressure. He knew what he was doing, or at least he knew that what he was doing could potentially harm this man, but that shows you that he didn't give a fuck. He didn't care that when he got up, that the person that went down on that ground in those handcuffs no longer existed. George was gone. His soul left this earth right there in that street on that corner that morning. By the time Chauvin got up off of him, George was gone. He was already gone. I wonder when he was calling for his mother, was he on his way out and he saw her? She flew to him to be there to receive him? Y'all, this breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to know that this man was saying, tell his kids he loved them, um, yelling for his deceased mom, saying, I'm done, I'm through, they're killing me. And then to know that within a few short moments, he was dead. If this officer gets off, y'all, if they give him a light sentence, it's not that we didn't know that this is something unusual. This is what we expect. This is what, as black people, we have come to expect from this country. You know, no justice when it comes to us. So, for the most part, we're not even thinking that there's a possibility that he may go to jail, get life, or the death penalty. We don't believe that. We don't believe it because, as my grandfather used to say, the white man, specifically a police officer in this case, could be standing there with the gun still smoking or rope burns in his hand on his hands after he done strung one of us up, and they will get off. They will talk about how big he was, and they started that with George too. Going into, he was over 6 feet tall, and the size of Chauvin, how much bigger that George was over Chauvin. But here's the thing: there were 3 other officers on George's back, so 4 white men to take down one handcuffed brother who was telling them, I can't breathe. Who, even when they were heading towards the car, he let them know, I'm claustrophobic. I panic. When people have phobias, my brother suffers from phobias. And I know that when they know that it's coming on, they all, despite whatever phobia they have, it could be agoraphobia, a phobia, claustrophobia, or whatever, they all talk about the first sign is their breathing becomes affected. They either get, shortness of breath, that breath is feeling like they can't breathe. So I remember vaguely hearing something where George said, let me count my way into the car. And I think it's a coping mechanism when they're put into claustrophobic situations that help them get through it, you know? But those officers, they didn't see him as a person, you know? They did not see him as a person. So because of that, They didn't feel that he needed the time or care or anything to help get him safely to the jail. Unlike what they do with these fucking mass murderers. They take them to Burger King and say they were just having a bad day and bullshit. What crime did George commit that meant that on that street corner that it was okay for Chauvin to become judge, jury, and executioner right there on the spot? That counterfeit $20 bill, they haven't said in court that George made it. How do we know that George didn't go to another store, spend money, and the counterfeit $20 bill was given to him? And he didn't even know that it was counterfeit. When they showed it beside the real bill, it looked real to me, you know? And then think about something else. If you knew you had just passed a bad bill in the store, would you sit outside the store? Possibly, for them to come out and say, hey, look, that 20 that you just gave us, that's bogus. Get back in here and pay. Wouldn't you pull off and consider yourself lucky that you were able to buy the cigarettes or whatever without them noticing it, getting out the store and all that? Why would you go outside and just sit in your car or sit on your car still on the scene? That doesn't even make sense. Then this thing that they're saying that, he died because he had fentanyl in his system. Prior to meeting up with Chauvin, he was walking around in a store buying cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. Let them tell it. He was fine. It was only after he came into contact with Chauvin where he started to have any types of problems that day. Y'all, I'm going to continue watching this trial, but it's killing me. It's killing me. What I am glad to know, though, is that the world is also watching. If you ever travel outside this country, like I've been fortunate enough to do in my past, I told y'all that in the past I was a travel agent for about 15 years, a corporate travel agent. So with that job comes to be the ability to be able to travel, either for free or for very reduced prices. So I've had occasion to go outside of the country a couple of times. And what I noticed on my first trip, I went to Europe and I noticed that what this thing that we hear that other countries, other places are jealous of America and they're all envious. I didn't find that to be true. What I found to be true is that they believe that Americans are arrogant and that we believe that we run the world and that they're happy where they are. They just want to be left alone, want us to keep our nose out their business. That's what I came away with. When I was traveling through Europe and getting a chance to view where those Europeans lived, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I thought if ever given the opportunity, I would love to live there. You know, it's the site of a lot of history. And if nothing else, I would like to live there a year and just, travel around visiting historic spots and then maybe come on home. But I didn't feel like, you know, that I was in some God-forsaken place and, oh God, let me get back to America where things make sense. Shit was making sense over there just like it is over here. The only difference is I couldn't speak the language. They had, you know, subways and buses and hotels and banks and libraries and, all the stuff that we have here. So as they watch us and they watch what happened to George, it further lets them know that this thing that we claim that we are, this shining beacon on the hill, is a bunch of bullshit. Especially when it comes to people of color here in America. Not only black people, y'all, the Indians, uh, you know, Hispanic community, the Asian community, any people, any group of people that has some pigment in their skin, some melanin in their skin that are not white people have a problem with. They feel that they are the chosen one and damn all the rest of us, that this country belongs to them. They forget that when that damn bogus ass Christopher Columbus claimed he sailed here, there were already people here, the Native Americans. Look at what they've done to them. As black people, I know that our fight is our own, and when we're fighting for ourselves, we really don't have time to be worried about another ethnic group or another minority. But the reality is that all of us as minorities, as melanated people, we all suffer at the hands of white people. The part that kills me is we don't hate them off rip. You know, we're not raised to hate. Any hate that we have is a direct reaction to how we've been treated. We will give them a chance if they give us a chance. But it's like they're raised to hate us just because of the color of our skin. We could not have done anything, just simply walk down the street, and they will want to harm us because we dare, with our black skin, walk down a street or go to the store and get some iced tea and Skittles or be shopping at Walmart. Just it's ridiculous, y'all. It's ridiculous. Poor, poor Mr. Floyd. The only thing that gives me solace is that I know he's in a better place. What hurts me about this is the way that he died, the loved ones he left behind, his children, the people that loved him, that they have to be tortured with this video playing over and over on television. The minutes ticking away as George laid on that ground begging for his life, y'all. God, I don't even know how his family and loved ones are getting through this. I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine it. If they don't give this officer time, and I don't mean no 10 years, 20 years, this bitch deserves life without the possibility of parole due to the brutality of what he did or the death penalty. To me, those are the only two choices. Life without the possibility of parole or take his life. Because what he did to George that day on the street, that was indefensible. And that's also why his attorney is trying to now, blame the bystanders for, calling him names and yelling at him. And, that it made them take their focus off of George. Bullshit. Do they think we're stupid? Oh, this shit got me mad, y'all. It got me mad. Like George is part of my family, and you know what? In a sense, he is. We don't even know if we're brothers and sisters because, quite frankly, we don't even know where we came from. A lot of us, we could be related. I I just, everybody that I know that has been able to catch parts of this trial so far, they're all talking about that they're crying. Even my male friends, male family members, they're telling me this one is getting me too. You know, hearing that brother, a grown man, 6 foot tall, begging and pleading just to simply breathe. Come on, y'all. Y'all, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna go back to watching it. There was a break in the proceedings, and if George can endure it, I can watch it. But I'm gonna go back and watch it. Y'all see, I'm fighting to keep from crying. Y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch y'all in my next video. Bye bye now.